This is a study and a project, an adventure, and probably the most exciting thing I've ever been involved in my life. And I'd like to say that it's called Sonic Pi Live Encoding, and on the front here you'll see people that are involved in it. I was meant to introduce myself, so I'm going to say I'm a professional musician. I've worked in education sectors from primary, secondary into tertiary now. I don't know how I found myself in tertiary, but that's where I am. And I work as a researcher and I train researchers. And my work, particularly as specialism, is in creativities, digital creativities, and also arts-based research methods. And on this page you see a number of people that are exploring this project, the creative potential of Raspberry Pi, a standalone computer, which looks like this. Put your hands up if you've heard of it. Right. Put your hands up, leave them up if you've got one. Whoa, now that's interesting. It's new, it's exciting. It is standalone, it costs 20 quid, I'm not selling this one. It is fully customizable program environment is one of the things that we're developing here in this project with Sam Aaron, you'll see him on this slide, developing Sonic Pi. We actually have got people in schools working with Raspberry Pi and teaching it in computing lessons. We don't know its potential, and yet we know it has, for working with artists and working with teachers, working across different subject areas and expanding what the young people can do with digital music making this time. The people down the bottom of this slide are artists, the Juan projects from Birmingham, and they are essential to the project as well. I'll just go through that shortly. First of all, the two questions we're asking, exploring the phases of this project, is to what extent can arts-led partnerships use live coding to facilitate innovative, exciting and engaging digital music activities, progression routes for young children and artists and teachers across all subjects, including the arts, working interdisciplinarily. Also working to develop a model of business in terms of this model of bringing all of these artists together, all of these partners. And in this slide, you see digital technology developers from the University of Cambridge. You see cultural venues. Cambridge Junction is heading up this study. You see education organisations and cultural venues. And you see the artists from Birmingham, the Juan projects. And essentially the idea of partnership working here is looking at the training of each other, looking at collaborative aspects of this, looking at the pitfalls and possibilities and planning as arts-led partners in and of itself. So where are we at the moment? This is the research design. And we're actually at phase 2B, so we're right in the middle of data collection. And essentially we're looking to develop an understanding of this use of Sonic Pi, which is a sonic software program that Sam Aaron is developing with us in the classrooms with year 8 and 9 children, young people. What's exciting and innovative and terribly risky about this particular piece of work is that the instrumental teachers, what we normally call peripatetic teachers, are delivering the lesson. And peripatetic teachers, music teachers, instrumental teachers are performing artists, usually with a portfolio career, working collaboratively with the music teachers and the ICT or computing teachers, with those in the room, with young people, year 8s and year 9s in high school, working with Sam Aaron, who's also in the classroom, to develop this program, to develop the means of widening access of young people to compose and perform, to live code. Now, Sam is also a live coder, and in doing that, he knows what it is to perform and to compose. Now, we normally think of composing and performing as sort of separate things, but when you live code, you change the code, you compose in that moment and perform. And so it's terribly exciting because you're now seeing young people who haven't invested 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 10,000 hours of practice on a formal instrument to actually be able to access digital music making. It rolls out, you'll see here in the 2B delivery, which is a summer school. We've just about finished the data collection and then 2 case studies, and we move in the 4th week of July to a summer school where digital leaders from the school, the students who really engaging with this process of digital music making and live coding will become the digital leaders in a summer school in July. And from there, we work out the findings, we analyse it, and we develop a toolkit to roll out not only the practice, but also the model itself. Data analysis, what does this look like? We're really mapping. We're mapping partnerships. We're mapping the network of decisions that are made when you bring interdisciplinary peoples together. We're looking at the roles and responsibilities that are taken and the negotiation between the artists, the computer scientist who's developing this software called Sonic Pi. We're developing also the programs for future teachers, for teachers to actually come into a classroom and work together across subjects, working with digital technology and the arts in order to also value collaborative practice, analytically, culturally, and educationally. This is boundary crossing, and this is risky, and we are developing new forms of activity. Can I give you any emerging findings at this point in time? These are really impressionistic. What are we finding? There are challenges. There are major themes around specialisms and interdisciplinary aspects. We are mapping new models for understanding and connecting partners and collaborations, and really looking at different kinds of practices around technology, digital technology, the role of Raspberry Pi in arts practice for artists, for teachers, and for pupils, and bringing those multi-voiced ideas and outcomes together in what really is looking at the moment like a hybridity of innovative practices in this way. So, final slide, concluding thoughts, insights. This is impressionistic. Remember, this is really, we're in deep, you'll be all on the beach having a great time, while we in August and September will be deep in an analysis mode. And essentially we are seeing, though, as a person who has taught in classrooms for several years, I'm seeing young people engaged in music making, in learning, in a very different way to what I've ever seen. And teachers being gripped by this thing. When you see it, it's so exciting. The SD card is as big as a 10p. And you can take that, and essentially with that is the ways of thinking of new learning means, new ways of activity, in engaging young people in arts activities. And that's my 7 minutes. Thank you so much for your attention.